ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Bengals, Ravens, AFC North family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. And boy, this was some quality family business here. Everything that I expected. And Ravens get the win to take sole possession of first place in that rough, tough, and rugged AFC North. Honestly, it's going to come down to these two teams. I honestly think the Bengals are the better team. However, I think the Ravens are the better coached team. So ultimately, I think the Ravens are going to get the nod in this division. Now, Harbaugh with these damn analytics pisses me off a lot of times. And I actually think he made the right decisions tonight. And conversely, on the opposite side of the field, for the second week in a row, I didn't think Zach Taylor made the right decisions. And I told you, I don't think Zach Taylor gets it as a head coach. He struggles to me with the simple things and having the feel for the game. And he's not alone in this. A lot of NFL coaches seem to struggle with the feel of the game, okay? Analytics doesn't take into account certain things. One of those things analytics doesn't weigh is who's kicking for the other team on the opposite sideline. The greatest kicker in NFL history resides on the opposite sideline. So if you're Zach Taylor and you're at the 2-yard line and it's 13-10, take the points. You see what kind of a game it's going to be tonight. The clock is just running. It's moving. It's moving. This was a very fast-paced game for the most part till we got to the very end. And timeouts started being called and things of that nature. But this game was going. There were 15 play drives, 8 minutes used up on the clock. You saw what this game was going to be. And yet he still elected to bypass. And then here's the thing. You bypass the opportunity to tie the game at 13. Okay, fine. I get it. You want to get you feel like because of the type of game it's been, you don't get a ton of opportunities. The clock has been running for most of the game, and it is shortened. It is a compacted game, and it will be over quickly, and we may not have very many possessions left. You got to come with the best 2-point play you got. What do you got from the 2-yard line? A lot of coaches seem to struggle with that concept. What's my best 2-point play? That was the best you had? That bullshit ass shovel pass? That shit had no chance from the start. That's the best you got? You got Jamar Chase. You got Tyler Boyd. Hayden Hurst was eating his ass off tonight. That's the best shit you got to Thomas? That Mike Thomas is the best you got. A shovel pass to Mike Thomas. Essentially with the game on the line. Now, there was plenty of football left. But you have to treat it as such. That's the game's on the line. And you're going to Mike Thomas on a shovel pass? Get the hell out of my face. You deserve to lose the goddamn game. So this is the second week. I said last week he got bailed out. Defense bailed him out. And then his kicker bailed him out. He made a ballsy decision last week to kick a field goal from essentially the 40-yard line. It was a 58-yarder. And his kicker banged it home and gave him the 5-point lead at 25-20. But he passed up an opportunity earlier in the game to go for the field goal and instead went for it, and they didn't get it. And I said, you're tripping. Look at the game. Look at the context of the game. Understand what's going on. Take the points. Again, tonight, 13-10. Your offense has been struggling. Okay? The run game looked better than the pass game, which we never would have thought going into the game because Joe Mixon was averaging 2.7 yards per carry going into the game. Yet he was the catalyst. Between him and Samaje Perine catching it out of the backfield, that was the best offense for the night. And that and the flags that the officials were throwing, which was helping them advance the ball down the field. But it wasn't because of Joe Burrow and his pass offense for the most part tonight. So you had to understand how the game was going. You were just down around the 2-yard line and couldn't get in. Take the points. because you needed to put yourself in a position where a field goal wasn't going to beat you. No matter what. Field goal wasn't going to beat you. Because had the Ravens scored a touchdown on their next possession and you turn around and score a touchdown, then that's when you say, okay, field goal beats me, it beats me. But the field goal wasn't going to beat you because I went for a touchdown and didn't get it. Ravens ultimately settled for another field goal. You go down to score a touchdown, take the lead, and now a field goal beats you. When you had a chance to make it a 4-point lead, had you taken the points initially. Harbaugh caught a lot of flack, and he should have, because, again, he shouldn't have gone for the touchdown last week. He should have kicked the field goal. Again, analytics aren't taken into consideration. It's a wet, sloppy, nasty day. It's been raining for the most part. The Bills have been struggling all day long to put it in the end zone. Don't want to get beat by a field goal. The last thing that I want to see happen is the Bills get it with an opportunity to walk it off with a field goal. They got to beat me with a touchdown, or we're going to overtime. Analytics isn't going to tell you that. Numbers will lie. Okay? Numbers will lie. If you allow them to, they'll lie to you. Got to understand context. I didn't have any problems with his decision to kick the field goal tonight. That was the right decision. And what did it ultimately do? It led them to a victory. He goes for it on 4th down and they don't get it like Cincinnati. You lose this game more likely than not, because then late in the game, when you're driving for the field goal that's going to ultimately give you the 19-17 victory, now you need a touchdown. Now you're down 17-13 and you need 7. And again, it's been one of those nights where touchdowns have been hard to come by for both ball clubs. Both teams are struggling to get into the end zone. Take the points. Understand your opponent. Understand the rhythm and flow of the game. Understand that you've got the best kicker, the best weapon, really, in the NFL, and Justin Tucker. He took advantage of that, and they got in position. And I told my wife, right before the 2-minute warning, the Bengals picked up the 1st down and let it bleed down to the 2-minute warning. I said, they're going to lose this game 19-17. Who didn't see that shit coming? They're going to score this thing. If I'm the Bengals, honestly, and it's hard because you got to score the touchdown first. You don't want to start taking things for granted and act as if all you need is a field goal. They needed a touchdown. So you're not going to wait to try to score a touchdown. You're going to try to score it as fast as you can. But I was like, man, it really would be helpful if they burned off some clock or at least forced the Ravens to use their timeouts in the process of scoring this touchdown, which, again, you just want the touchdown. You're not worried about whether they score or not. You just say, hey, defense, get up there, stop them from getting in the field goal range. They weren't going to stop Lamar Jackson from getting in the field goal range. They weren't going to do that. And so I knew they were going to lose this game 19-17. Something crazy like a block kick was going to have to happen. But they were going to get in the field goal range because, again, he's such a weapon. Once you get to the 45-yard line, 61, 62-yard field goal, you're in field goal range. This guy's insane. So once you cross midfield, you're damn near in Justin Tucker field goal range. You know, if they kick it off, just think of it this way. If they kick it off and it's a touchback and you start to 25, all you need is essentially 30 yards to get into the outskirts of Justin Tucker field goal range. 35 yards and you're in Justin Tucker field goal range comfortably. He's already banged home 58 from, earlier in the night. You're comfortably in Justin Tucker. And that field goal would have been good from 61. That guy's ridiculous. And there aren't many kickers in the league that you can honestly say that. And there are a few guys, Carlson in Vegas and Butker in Kansas City. There was another great kicker on the field tonight, and McPherson. There are a few guys that have the leg and the consistency to do that. But all of those guys are capable of missing too. Every single one of them. None of them are automatic. Justin Tucker is effing automatic. Just get the snap down and turn the laces outward, and he'll do the rest. I worry about this Ravens defense. I've said this already. I'll continue to say it. I don't worry about their offense. They didn't have their best receiver tonight. Cincinnati's defense is really good. If I trusted Zach Taylor, I'd have picked them to win tonight. I don't trust Zach Taylor. I don't trust Zach Taylor. He, to me, is just like Brandon Staley in Los Angeles with the Chargers. There are a couple of coaches, these young coaches, that I don't think they understand the magnitude of some of their decisions. And I don't think they understand situational football. And I don't think they understand how some of these decisions actually work in the context of the game that they're currently coaching in. You can't make a decision, the one that Brandon Staley made today. It's 30-28. It's 4th and 2 from midfield. You convert, you win. You punt the football. They've got to go the length of the field to get in the field goal range, and they've got no timeouts. There's a minute and like 40 some odd seconds left, something around that, vicinity. And he decides to go for it. I'm thinking, no way. He's gonna hard count them, take a delay of game, and then he's gonna punt the football. No, he snapped the ball. Herbert throws a pass. It's incomplete. The Browns take over, and I'm thinking, you dumb son of a bitch. Are you serious? Did you just do what I think you just did? And they complete a 10-yard pass. Now they're in field goal range, and they end up kicking a long field goal, 52 yards, 53 yards, whatever, and their kicker misses. So he gets away with a stupid-ass decision. Had they lost the game, Chargers fans would have been irate, and they should have been. It's these types of decisions, like the one he made last year in the final game of the season that kept them from going to the playoffs, that's going to continue to stunt the growth of the Chargers. And I feel the same way about this Bengals team. Zach, he doesn't get it. Zach Taylor doesn't get the moments in the game. And you can say Harbaugh allows analytics sometimes to get a little bit carried away. But I trust the Ravens staff. I trust them to make the smart decision in those situations, even though I don't always agree. I thought it was a poor decision last week. But I don't trust the Ravens defensively this season because they're doing things that are uncharacteristic to them. Like, the Ravens have always been more, and again, you want to mix it up. Man zone, you don't want to play too much of one or too much of the other. You'd like to have a healthy balance and mixture of both. And you like to be able to blitz when necessary. And I don't really see that with them. And when they do bring the blitz, they're unable to cover on the back end consistently. Tonight was a penalty fest in the secondary. That's what really gave Cincinnati so many opportunities to score, is because they had so many penalties in that secondary. I've said this for a long time with the Ravens. They don't have a dominant pass rusher. JPP played his ass off tonight, and he's definitely got some gas left in the tank. But they don't have a dominant. It's just crazy because I look at Matt Judon and I look at Zadarius Smith. These are all guys that they drafted, that they were homegrown talents, and they let them go elsewhere and play their best football and shine. And you're still left without a dominant pass rusher. And I get it. You can't sign everybody. You got to make some decisions. And you made your decisions. But my goodness, they struggle to get to the quarterback without blitzing for the most part. And the run defense was shoddy tonight. Like, pick something and take it away. Because Joe Mixon came into the game. He couldn't run on anybody, and he ran for probably damn near 5 a pop tonight. Burrow, it wasn't a clean game by any stretch of the imagination. They had the pick that he threw. They had great field position after they decided to go for it on 4th down. Lamar missed a couple of open receivers down the field. Both would have been touchdowns had he hit either one, especially the one to Tylan Wallace. You can't miss that one. There's no excuse. Even if he throws a punt up there, he was so wide open. If he had to wait on it for a couple of seconds, he still would have walked in the end zone. He was that wide open. You got to find a way to get that one to the receiver. Even if you got a short on him and pull the string on it, you got to make sure that gets to Tylan Wallace. But you get great field position. You give it right back on the next play, the first play on the next possession. Play action fake. I don't know how he didn't see his ex-teammate, Patrick Queen, dropping underneath that hook, but he's sitting right there. Again, that one befuddled me because he was there the entire time. But he picks it off. And so Burrow wasn't clean tonight by any stretch of the imagination, but he used the opportunities down the field to his advantage, got some calls, and a lot of them were accurate calls. And I knew they were going to score because one thing I can say about Joe Burrow, if you give him the football with a chance to take the lead late in the fourth quarter, he's going to do it. No matter how bad of a game it's been, no matter, what's been going on. I just think about week 1 against the Steelers. You can't play a worse game than he played in that game. 4 interceptions, harassed him, sacked him 6-7 times. And he takes him right down the field. And with 3 seconds left, maybe, no seconds, I think time expired, I don't know. He finds Jamar Chase for the touchdown. And all they need is the extra point, and they win, and then it gets blocked. But that's Joe Burrow, man. If you give him an opportunity to break your heart, he's going to break your heart. So I knew they were going to score. I was just thinking, man, you need to score this touchdown with as least amount of time as possible. And they scored too soon. And that's going to be a fun divisional race because I don't see either team pulling away from the other. The Ravens have a legitimate fault on their team right now. They have a legitimate crack in their armor. And to me, it's defensively. I think they can score with anybody. Lamar gets it revved up. That run game gets going. They start throwing the football around the yard. Rashad Bateman, they got so much speed at receiver, okay? None of them are high-profile guys, but they can all run, whether it's Duvernay or it's Bateman or it's Tylan Wallace. They can all run. Probably stands for James Prochet. Then you got the tight ends. And so they're tough. When they get it going, they're tough. But the defense is, again, didn't stop the run well tonight. They've had trouble stopping the pass all season long. And so we'll see what happens with them. Something's off with Cincinnati's offense. They still haven't hit their stride yet. So we've talked about the run game all season long. That got going tonight, but now the pass game was off. And maybe not having a healthy T. Higgins really knocked their pass game off kilter a bit. Didn't see Tyler Boyd get involved as much as I would have liked to tonight. I thought they went out of their way to try to force it to Jamar Chase. I don't blame them for that. Okay. He's a stud. And he got a couple of pass interferences called and things of that nature. So I don't blame them for that. But just seemed off tonight, the passing game for the Bengals. And so I think their defense is phenomenal, though. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's a 2-team race, though, in that division. Pittsburgh won't be a factor. I don't think Cincinnati's or Cleveland's going to be a factor. I think these are the 2 best teams in that division. So that should be fun. That's a big win for Baltimore. It's a big win for them. This was a tough one for me to kind of decide what to do because I knew that Lamar wasn't going to have one of those 4 touchdown performances and none of that shit against this Bengals defense. I knew that wasn't happening. But I also, again, I didn't trust Zach Taylor. And what I'm starting to look at around the league is there are a lot of coaches that are suspect. They're sus. And they're putting their teams in some really tough positions. And excuse me, unless you got some dogs on the field that's going to end up making your coach right, you'll lose some football games behind some of the chicanery of some of these coaches. So, Ravens are now 3-2. Bengals are 2-3. Ravens got an interesting game next week. They play the Giants in New York. I'm pretty sure when they looked at the schedule, when this thing came out, they were expecting this to be a win. But all of a sudden now the Giants are 4-1, and they're playing outstanding defense, and they're going to make the Ravens earn it. And if the beauty of this for the Ravens is defensively, you don't have a lot to worry about against the Giants next week. But offensively, their defense, very underrated, very, to me, disciplined group. They've got team speed defensively. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They're going to make you earn it. That's going to be a fun one next week to see how they handle that. Anyway, I digress. Big win for the Ravens. That's a big one for the Baltimore Ravens. All right. Got a few super chats here before we get to the hashtags. If you're out there and you want your comment read, super chats are the way to ensure that your comments are read. And hashtag Louie T Live is the way to have your comment read if we have extra time. Right. So the Cubo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Q writes, what up, Lou? Glad to see Robinson back on the field for the Commanders. Hope the player from Detroit who had the neck injury is all right. Haven't heard any updates, but I haven't heard anything negative either, but I haven't been checking my phone all that much, so I would not know. Usually, though, those situations end up being okay. So hopefully that player is okay as well, because that was, anytime you see all, both teams' benches empty, a lot of guys taking knees, praying, it's never good. Never good. The Cubone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. The Cubone, who writes, so funny to see the Jags fans and reporters complain and throw a fit that the Jags are now 2-3, even though most of them had them at 7-10 or 8-9. Well, this is a league where your expectations change from week to week, right? So your Jags start off the season 0-1. You lose to the Commanders, and everybody's thinking same old Jags, right? But then you go the following week, you blank Indy. You get to 1-1 on the season. You're feeling good about yourself. Then you turn around, and then no one in the entire world, not even the most devout and stout Jags fans, thought you were going to Los Angeles and drubbing. Maybe you thought they could win the game. They could hang in and maybe steal one late. You didn't think you were going to go in there and dominate them by 3 touchdowns, right? So that was a surprise. And now the needle moves from, cute story, Jags are 1-1. They got their first win. They didn't have to wait till week 6 or 7 to get their first win, to, oh, shit, look at Jacksonville. They're 2-1. They lead the division. So then you go, okay, big test. Philadelphia is undefeated. They're 3-0. They've been steamrolling everybody. We're going to their place. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can hang tough with these boys and beat them. If not beat them, at least make it competitive. What did you do? You took a 14-0 lead. You go for it on 4th down, up 14-0. You got a wide open receiver, and Trevor Lawrence knees the ball out of his own hands and fumbles. And the game really just turned on that, turnover there. Eagles ran off, 29 unanswered points, I believe, in the game before you score a touchdown to make it 9-21. And so, all the turnovers, all the mistakes that you made in that game, I think Lawrence was responsible for 5 turnovers in that game, and you still had a chance with the ball late in that ball game, and then he fumbles again, of course. But everyone said, okay, that was convincing right there. You go to Philadelphia, you give them all they can handle, and okay, maybe this is a different Jags team. And then You go home, the only team in the league to not have a victory to their name, and you let them come in your house and put up 13 points and beat you. That reeks of same old Jags. So, yeah, I mean, people should be upset. People should be frustrated. It's not that you're the same record that they all predicted you would be before the season started. It's how you got there. No one would have batted an eye if your 2 wins were Washington and Indianapolis in the first 2 weeks, and then you lost 3 straight. Okay, that's Jacksonville Jaguars shit. But your 2 wins were against Indy in a shutout, dominant shutout, and then an ass whooping that you administered on the road at Los Angeles against the Chargers. Those are 2 eye-opening victories that set the stage for a big week 4 matchup versus Philadelphia that you didn't wet yourself in. And so everybody said, okay, Jacksonville's legit. Go home, beat Houston like you're supposed to, and get over 500 and let's talk. And then you laid an egg. And so, yeah, reporters should be pissed off, fans should be pissed off because, again, it's how you got to 2 and 3. Not the fact that you're just 2 and 3. It's how you got there, who you lost to. That's a terrible loss. I know it's family business, and you know how family business goes, but that's a terrible loss. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know how it went. But it's 13-6. You got to find a way to beat Houston, man. All right. I got a super chat here from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor. Hold on. Writes, Scott T seems to struggle with the feel of the playbook. I don't know if it's the feel of the playbook necessarily. I don't think it's a feel of the playbook. I think he has a tough time having a feel for what should or should be called and what should or shouldn't work in certain instances. Again, situational awareness. That's what that's all about. Is in this particular situation, what can I go to get a matchup that's favorable for me and my team that gives us the best chance to succeed in this particular moment? He's had some good calls. Not all of his calls have been terrible. You know, today was the second 4th down. We've only converted 2 on the season, 4th downs. All right. Both have been runs, and both have been in creative ways. Against the Lions, we ran a jet sweep to Terry on a 4th down and 1 and converted. Today, we ran a fullback dive and it was a nice little design on the fullback dive. We haven't shown that before. You put Brian Robinson at fullback, he gets the first down. That's a nice little design, a nice play. That's situational awareness, understanding what needs to be done in that particular situation. I think he lacks that more times than not, though. It's 3rd and 4, and we're throwing the ball 12 yards down the field. It's 3rd and 3, and we're throwing it 18 yards down the field. Why? Get 5 yards and move the sticks. I just think he doesn't understand sometimes that it's not about your scheme. It's not about you dialing up this play that should work. It's about matchups. How can I get my guy against a guy that I think he can win against and get them the football? Let's not make this a lot of times, and it's not just Scott Turner. This is a syndrome that is running rampant across the NFL. There's a lot of guys that don't understand that this isn't rocket science. Create matchups, get the ball to your best players. It's as simple as that. You know why the Bengals have such great success late in ball games? Because they don't mince any words and they don't make it a secret. I'm going to Jamar Chase. Same thing with the Vikings. I'm going to Justin Jefferson. Stop him. I don't think you can. Some people make it hard. The Rams are going to Cooper Kupp. They'll live or die with the results. But I'm going to my guy. The Packers used to be able to go to Devontae Adams. They can't do that anymore. That's why they're struggling. But Aaron Rodgers could always go to number 17, and he knew he would bail him out no matter what. he'd win. Sometimes it's just about the Eagles. When in doubt, throw it to A.J. Brown. He'll figure it out. Just throw it up to 11. He'll bail us out. Sometimes it's not about this play or diagramming this up. Let's run this. It's about my guy against your guy. I think my guy's going to win. That's what I think he struggles with, is understanding what is necessary for this particular occasion and situation. You're at the 2-yard line. Why are we running all of these different routes and they're not even in unison with one another? How about I just take my guy and put him one-on-one against your guy and see who wins? I got a 6'5" tight end. I got a 6'5" wide receiver. How about I try one of those dudes out for size? See what happens with that. I got Terry McLaurin or I got Curtis Samuel. How about I isolate Curtis on a slant and then he whips it back outside on a whip route? See if he wins one-on-one there. See if I can get that corner to bite the bait on the slant initially and then whip it back out and throw it to him. Just a thought, but, you know. Anyway, Luck. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Luck writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes. Lou, Protect him, and Law Nation all got tonight. I did. And again, you're a dirty, low down, dirty bastard for that, man. You really are. You truly are a conniving son of a bitch. You got me good though. But that there needs to be limits on when you can get got. But I pulled a Dan Snyder. I hit you with the all caps and then turned around and got. So I got what I deserved. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. JL Smith, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes. What up, Lou? Tough loss for y'all. Sorry about that. But Lou, we scored the game-winning touchdown in the first minutes of the game, LOL. I'm a fan of 39, but man, we made him look slow today. I love this team. Go Bills. I knew y'all were going to dominate those boys. This was why I said probably shouldn't put Kenny out there quite yet. But he needs to take these lumps. But I said probably shouldn't put Kenny out there quite yet. This is what I was guarding against. And I think Tampa Bay is coming down the pipeline here shortly. But they're struggling too. So, we'll see. But he wasn't ready for that road environment against that team. Gabe Davis looked like week 1 Gabe Davis and not the Gabe Davis that we've seen the last couple of weeks. And I know he's been dealing with some injury issues and things of that nature, but he still wasn't the guy we saw in week 1 against the Rams. He was back like cook crack today, went ham on the Steelers. He single-handedly outscored the Steelers by himself. So he was fantastic. I mean, everybody was getting off. Josh had it going, and the defense was able to make it stick big time. And so dominant performance. Everybody expected that. Nice little rebound 2 weeks in a row after the loss to the Dolphins. And so I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think you're the best team in football. And despite some of the injuries that you've incurred, still think you're one of the best football teams. And you're going to get some of these guys back, and you're going to get Tre'Davious White at some point. And so you're only going to get better. That's the prevailing thought. You've lost one of your safeties for the season. That sucks. But you're going to get better. And it's invaluable experience that's being got by some of the young boys right now. And that can only help for later on in the season when they have to play and you're going to start to have to rely on some of them. So I always felt like the missing piece in Buffalo was a legit dominant pass rusher, a game-clinching pass rusher. You got one now in Von Miller. So you're going to be a tough out for anybody. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. JL Smooth, who writes, Fantasy Rant. How the Bengals Schefter going to say Higgins is good. He's going to play. I don't know if I saw him one play, but I know he gave me 0. So word out on the street is he played and he re-aggravated it in the second quarter. Now, how much did he play? I don't know. It wasn't a whole hell of a lot, but understand the man didn't practice all week, and that's how it goes. He did play. Schefter didn't lie to you. He played. He just didn't play for long, and the ankle started to stiffen up on him, give him some problems. It was a chilly night in Baltimore, and so he wasn't able to stay in the game. It happens. You should know. You play fantasy all the time. You should know about these things. They take place all the time. 1-6 Devil Doc. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. 1-6 Devil Doc. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB Rights. Lou, just finished watching our game, and I'm effing pissed. Welcome to the club. He said, we had plenty of opportunities to win, but we still find ways to F it up. Feel so frustrated. Well, I'm glad that you got to finally watch the game. We did a whole 3 or 4 hours or however long we were live for after the game, talking about all of the missed opportunities in the game, talked about Ron Rivera's era and setting us up for failure later on in the game when we needed that timeout. We talked about Scott Turner's lack of situational awareness. We talked about Carson Wentz playing an outstanding game, and then when we needed him the most, choking away the football game. We talked about the defense playing extraordinarily well, and then when we needed them to get us a stop, they give it up and give up the touchdown and put us in a compromising position. It was typical Washington football. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So I wish I could tell you I was surprised, but I'm not. That game went exactly to the script, other than the fact that we didn't find a way to win. Everything that happened in that game in terms of how it played out score-wise and needing a touchdown late, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Somebody was going to have a chance to win this game, whether it be Tennessee with the ball late and us holding on for dear life or vice versa. But I knew the game was going to come down to that exact type of situation. And it was us with the football, with all the opportunities to win. And we did what 1 in 4 teams do. We find a way to lose. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat once again. Greatly appreciate you. 105.3 JL Smooth writes, Lou, Brandon Beane does not miss. Shakir today was awesome. He was. I had to look again. He looked a lot bigger than I remember him looking at Boise. I don't know if it's that number 10 that makes him look as big or what, but I was like, who the hell is number 10? And then he catches the ball, breaks a couple tackles, he gets up, does the little first down sign, and I look and it says Shakir. I'm like, shit. Thought you was 5'11", broski. You didn't look that big at the Senior Bowl. He played big today, man. He went up and got some balls and run after the catch, physical. Again, you move on from Cole Beasley, you insert Khalil Shakir, and just keep the party going. He says, would have been over 100 if he didn't have one unfortunate wide open drop. Even Isaiah Hodges came up and at 4 for 41. Huge game this week versus Kansas City. This is the one you had circled on the calendar. I watched the promo for that game today 3 times, and they said the greatest playoff game in NFL history. The rematch, Sunday, CBS. And I'm thinking, was that the greatest playoff game we've ever seen? I don't think that's the greatest playoff game. We've seen some really good ones. That's up there. It's in the top 3. Well, I'm pretty sure the old people will be like the Chargers game was the greatest playoff game ever played. It was a really good game. But I always liken it to the Patriots and Giants first Super Bowl in 2007. Like, that wasn't a great game. It was a great finish. There's a difference. That Chiefs-Bills game was a good game, and it turned great with the finish. the last 2 minutes of the game and into overtime. I struggle with that, but it was a great game regardless. We're arguing over, tomato, apples to it's one of the best playoff games in NFL history, and it spawned a rule change. So that's a big one next week. It damn sure is. I can't wait to watch it. See what the hell happens. All right. All right. So let's get to some of these hashtags. Niners fan says, Lou, I need your Thursday night leftovers from last week. I'm here for all the Russ slander. I had a great podcast lined up on Friday, and my son was super needy on Friday. He had a cold. He needed to get outside. I felt bad because normally we go to the gym and, I'm trying to get him to learn how to play T-ball. So I'm teaching him the fundamentals of T-ball and hitting the ball and running the bases and things of that nature. And so he hadn't been outside all week, and it had been cold and rainy. Y'all know the remnants from Ian. It rained all early last week. And so it finally got a little bit warmer later on in the week. Friday was the first day he was able to get outside. So I was like, man, I'm really busy. I don't have time, but I'm like, this kid he has to get out of the house. So I ended up taking him outside to ride his ATV and to, do the T-ball thing. And by the time we finished doing all of that, and then I finished my Washington video and I came back around for the podcast, there wasn't going to be enough time for me to get the podcast done before, some of the other things that I needed to do started to kick in, including, getting the twins and picking them up from daycare and things of that nature. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get this podcast done later on tonight. I knew damn well it wasn't going to happen because, I'm really big on family time on the weekend. So it just didn't happen. And boy, that was going to be a great show. I still want to do it. But what's ultimately going to happen is it's not going to be relevant anymore. One thing about the NFL is it's a constant news cycle. That was relevant on Friday. Maybe you could have snuck it in there on Saturday. Now that a whole slate of games has been played, nobody cares. So I don't even know if it's even worth doing anymore. But damn, I wanted to do it. I had a lot of shit to say. It was going to be good too. I had a lot of takes. Anyway. Niners fan says Zach Taylor clearly does not take advantage of all his offensive weapons. His play calling is way too basic at times. I don't have a problem with the weapon, the distribution of the football from time to time. Sometimes I think he forgets about some of his guys, but Joe Burrow also is the one with the football in his hands. So he's got a connection with Jamar Chase, and that's his guy, and that's who he's going to live or die with. And I get that too. But it's not so much his play calling, although I hated that fourth down play call. I hated that. I hate when teams go to the shovel. Like if I almost feel like if you're not the Chiefs, leave that shit alone. Leave that for the Chiefs because they get creative. You'll never see the same one, over and over with them. They do all kinds of crazy shit with theirs. They got a dude going this way, a dude going that way, and then they shovel it to Travis Kelce. Yeah, whoa. You got a guy going this way. You got another guy pulling around this way, and then Kelce comes out of nowhere, and they shovel it to him. And Mahomes looks like he's about to roll out. The next thing you know, he's throwing the shit sideways like this. He's not doing this. Leave that shit to the Chiefs. Find a different way to get in the end zone than trying to shovel pass. But I just, again, I don't think he has a great grasp of and feel for the game that he's coaching in. Gregory Lightbody says, if Ron loses to the Bears Thursday, he should definitely be fired. I mean, y'all could come off for the Ron getting fired thing. It's not happening. And there's a good chance that we're going to lose to the Bears on Thursday. Understand that. Gregory Lightbody also says, Washington is a disgrace to the rest of the NFC East. How is it that the Giants turned it around faster than Washington? Well, they turned it around for a year with the Giants. And I say that in This year isn't even finished. They could start 4-1 and finish the season losers of 10 out of their final 8 games. 10 out of their final 8. 10 out of their final 12 games. Or 11, what is it? What do they got? 11 games left? 17. It's 17, right? Yeah, so 10 out of their final 12 games. And they could finish the season 6-11. It can happen. Probably won't, but there's still a lot of football left to be played. But to your point, you feel like this is bullshit because in Brian Daboll's first year, he has a record that Ron Rivera has never even come remotely close to approaching at any point in his tenure in Washington. And it's not because he has a better roster. It's not because they were able to go out and get free agents. They were strapped for cash at free agency. They're trying to turn over the roster, get the guys in there that they feel like can help them moving forward. They don't know about Daniel Jones. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. They don't know about Saquon Barkley. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. They weren't in the same draft, but they didn't pick up Daniel Jones' fifth-year option. And this, I think, is Saquon's, last year, essentially, he's playing to be around in the future. Both him and Daniel Jones, for that matter, are playing to be around. And I think Daniel Jones is playing excellent football. I think Saquon Barkley looks like he's back. And they're just using what they have. They don't have a lot, especially on offense, but they're using what they've got. I love Wink Martindale. I love guys with that mentality. I love guys with the Todd Bowles, Wink Martindale mentality of, hey, I'm coming after your ass. Figure it out. If you get me, you got me. But it won't be because I'm sitting back here waiting. That's for damn sure. Ron has never been 4-1, 3-1. He's never even been 2-1 in Washington. So, yeah, that's frustrating when you look up and see a guy that just got there with a whole bunch of different things, hurdles, if you will, that should be preventing the Giants from winning games, but comes in and wins them anyway. And our guy's still making excuses as to why we can't find a way to get it done. He's telling us the fact of the matter is, well, what you have to understand is, when he says that, I know some bullshit's coming after it. It's almost like when I tell y'all, if somebody says no disrespect and then a conjunction follows, every single word in the next sentence is going to be disrespect. That's kind of how I feel about Ron Rivera when he says the truth of the matter is, whatever he's about to say is some bullshit. Well, what you have to understand is, whatever he says after the word understand is going to be some bullshit. All right. Let's see. Joe Rockhead J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Joe Rockhead J writes, it blows me that you have logical answers to what to do on the field while the guys getting paid big bucks with all the resources don't. Because again, I really feel like they make it harder than what it really is. That's the thing that frustrates me. Like, football is such a beautiful game, and it can be very complicated, and it is complicated. I mean, think about the verbiage in a play and what that entails, and how much you have to actually get out of your mouth, pause, to tell everybody in the huddle what their responsibility is for that particular play. And think about it from a quarterback. Like, if you're a receiver, you just need to know one part of the play. If you're an offensive lineman, you just have one specific part of that play you have to understand. You care less about the rest of the play. You hear your part and you're good. If you're a quarterback, you have to remember the entire play because you have to know what everybody's doing on the play. Football can be very complicated. If they're playing this defense, this route checks to this route. If they're playing this kind of look, then you need to convert this route into this route. And you have to do all of this on the fly when you're running any type of option route. They're playing man, this is what you do. They're playing zone, this is how you sit down. Quarterbacks got to process it on the fly, and they got to be on the same page. They got to do the same exact thing. They got to see the same exact thing. Quarterback sees that there's a defender with inside leverage, so he's got to throw the football on the outside shoulder so that it doesn't get picked off. Receivers got to turn and adjust. Shit can get complicated very fast. But here's where it's not complicated. When you slow it down and you get into situations that require specific things, that's when it's not complicated. That's when you got to figure out how the flow of the game is going and what needs to be done. And this is when I think a lot of guys struggle, because in their mind, I got to do my shit. I got to call, like the Bengals, it's 2nd and goal from the 2, maybe the 5. Let's call it the 4 tonight in the game. And Zach Taylor decides, I want to do a Philly special. That's what I want to do from the 4-yard line. I want to do a Philly special. And loses 11 yards. And now it's 3rd and goal from the 15-yard line. Hey, dunce cap. How about we just drop Joe Burrow back? Or even better, shit, you running the hell out of the football. Why not give it to Joe Mixon? But okay, fine. You don't want to do that? How about we drop Joe Burrow back and we run a back shoulder fade with either Hayden Hurst, who was having himself a whale of a ball game, or Jamar Chase. Just a thought. Like, trips to one side, isolate one guy by himself, and you throw him the football. It doesn't have to be complicated. Not unless you want it to be. Doesn't have to be. You could go trips to one side, run 2 slants, run a speed cut, throw him the ball, or you could set up a wide receiver screen, get it to Jamar Chase. You were throwing them hitches all night. You were throwing them wide receiver screens all night. It's the perfect time to throw him one, right by the goal line. You know, the Saints used to run a cute-ass little screen, right? They send the guy all the way out wide in motion, and they snap the ball, and they throw it to him as he's coming in motion, and they just get it to him immediately, and they get 2 guys out in front of him and block, and he just walks in the end zone. Saints used to do it all the time, too. Nice little cute play. Not hard. Not rocket science. Just get it to a guy that's in motion. Don't matter if it's zone or it's man. This shit's going to work. But guys get inside the red zone and they start getting in their own head and they start creating all these. Man, we've been working on this play. I want to call this shit. So I'm going to call a Philly special right now and lose 11 yards. Man, I've been dying to call this shovel pass. I've been saving this one for a big-time 2-point conversion. Well, we need a touchdown. It's 4th and goal from the 2. I'm going to use it. Why? Because you're dying to use it? Because you've been waiting on it? An opportunity to pull that one out of your pocket? I just feel like some people make it harder than what it has to be. Storm, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Storm writes, is it me or was this week of NFL action low-key bad? Doesn't feel like there were many good games. Also can't wait Monday to get Monday over with. My Raiders going to get whooped. It wasn't a great slate of games. I mean, all the ones I watched were relatively, competitive. The Giants game in London was awesome. The Washington game came down literally to the final play of the game. The Bucks game had a controversial roughing the passer that was going to give Atlanta back the football on a sack of Brady. I still don't know how that's roughing the passer. I'm befuddled. I'm baffled. I'm perplexed. That's a Tom Brady call is what that is. Any other quarterback in the league, especially not Lamar Jackson or one of these mobile quarterbacks, they're not getting that goddamn call. Are you kidding me? It was a sack. He ragdolled him down to the ground, and all of a sudden now, because Tua got dolled down, now it's roughing the pass too. It's too brutal. Come on, you've been protecting Brady for too damn long. That's why he's 45 and still playing? Because you've been protecting his ass for too goddamn long. So all the games that I was watching was pretty competitive. The Jets game was an ass whooping. I expected the Jets to win, not like that. But then I didn't expect Teddy Bridgewater to get hurt either. So they had to bring in, I forgot the name of the quarterback that got pretty much all the reps after the opening possession of the game. And the Jets were able to take advantage of that. The Chargers game was close. It was 30-28. The Saints game was a relatively close game back and forth with the Seahawks. I don't know what you're talking about, Storm. I really don't. I didn't see any of the second half games. I know Carolina got their doors blown off. I think the Cowboys game came down to the wire. That sounded like it was a good game. I haven't seen it. The Eagles game, I think I heard the Cardinals missed a field goal late that would have tied it. That seemed like it was a good game. I really don't know what you're talking about. This Ravens game was 17-19 on a walk-off field goal. Maybe we're missing the same weeks or something. I don't know. We might not be on the same page on this one. Red Wing 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "We are 1-4 while our rivals are 4-1, 5-0." Shaking my damn head. Yep. Again, that's just more. That just adds insult to injury. Essentially, you're already down, and then you look up, and nobody's even within 3 or 4 miles of you. And you're just like, well, damn. I mean, we can hear our own echo, Hey, is anybody here? It's just us. We're lonely at the bottom. Everybody else is up there, having fun, 5-0, 4-1, making it interesting. And we're down here playing around by our damn selves. Mr. Liberty, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. Liberty writes, "Honestly, give the keys to the fans. We'll fix it." We always feel like we got all the answers. It's never as easy as we make it out to be. Even though I think the coaches sometimes make it a lot tougher than it needs to be. It's never as easy as we think it is. Okay. I need to reinforce that. Like, for as much as, I feel like I could make better play calls in certain situations, it's not easy. And the defense gets paid too, right? They get paid to make plays and to stop you from, because all the things I said doesn't mean they would work. I just think they were better, solutions than the one we put forth on those 3 plays. Throwing a back shoulder fade to Cole Turner doesn't mean that it's going to work. Just because I suggested it. Same with Cam Sims. Doesn't mean it's going to work. It just means it's a different alternative. It's an alternative to what they decided to do. But my whole logic behind that is you drafted Cole Turner specifically for this moment, and he's active, and this is exactly what you drafted him for. So why not give him an opportunity to score? Like, that's the thing that boggles my mind. Is all we heard this offseason was how much of a red zone threat Cole Turner it was in college at Nevada, and how much of a red zone threat with his size and catch radius he could be at the next level, and they think he could be a huge red zone weapon. Well, what better time to test that theory than the present? His first game active as a pro, you isolate, they're not going to be thinking anything of it. He's Cole Turner. You put him one-on-one outside, trips to the other side with Terry and Curtis and Diami and all those other guys on the other side. They're thinking we're trying to get the ball to one of those dudes on a wide receiver screen or something. They're not thinking back shoulder fade to the rookie in his first career NFL game. But again, maybe I'm not giving the Titans enough credit. I don't know. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Hunter Hodovic writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Hunter writes, "Hey T, I hate to be asking this question so early in the season, but who's your top want for head coach and or OC next year? I'm a personal high for the Chiefs OC, Eric Bieniemy." Again, Ron's not getting fired, so I really don't like entertaining the head coach thing. I don't see Ron going anywhere. And I'll double down on the fact that I don't see Ron firing Scott Turner. But then again, I didn't see Ron finally getting rid of defensive line coach Sam Mills III, and he did. It took a while, and it was unorthodox in the manner of which he did it and the timing of which he did it, but he did do it. And so I don't know. Maybe he does see that Scott Turner has been. They gave Scott Turner an extension. They're not kidding. What am I saying? I know better than that. They gave Scott Turner an extension last offseason. He's not going anywhere. As long as Ron's here, Scott's got a job. And so I really don't like dealing in those types of hypotheticals when I can't actually see in my mind it transpiring. If I could see a way in which Ron or Scott wasn't here next year, I'd sit here and I'd entertain that. And I'd go through some guys that have piqued my interest to this point. But I don't see that exercise really being necessary because I don't see either one of these guys not being here next year. So to me, it's an exercise in futility. You're kind of spinning your wheels in place because, all the fans are up in arms about Ron and he needs to be fired. And if we lose Thursday, he needs to be gone. He's not going to be gone if we lose Thursday. He's not going anywhere. I'd be shocked if anything. It's not impossible, but I'd be shocked if anything happens to Ron Rivera. Shocked. 1/6 Devil Doc. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou, I'm still in the whip with Ron. Like Benjamin Slade, 30 years, and I just won't get it. Started this road trip with Richie driving, then Norv, then came Robisky, Marty, Spurrier, Joe 2.0, Zorn, Mike, Jay, Bill, and now Ron. Yeah, you've been in there for a long time. You've seen a lot. We've seen a lot. I've seen all of those dudes. I'm not in the whip with Ron anymore, though. Unfortunately, I had to get out. Today was a little bit much for me, And like I said, I still expect them to have at some point a 3-4 game win streak. They may even make things interesting this year, but there are too many holes in our coaching staff. There's too many inconsistencies in things that we do or don't do. We don't make timely plays. We haven't created a turnover since week 1. And I'm unlike, the coaching staff and the players who have been brainwashed into believing that malarkey. Turnovers and sacks don't come in bunches. They don't just show up in bunches. You actually have to go and get them. You don't just get turnovers. Oh, hey, you haven't had any turnovers. Let's get you 10 in 3 weeks. That's not how the shit works. You actually got to force turnovers. You actually have to create opportunities where turnovers can happen. You have to set the stage for turnovers to be had. We don't. So there's just too many things fundamentally wrong with this team that even if they were to get hot, win 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, or 4 in a row, it'd come crashing down. It'd be a house of cards. Because fundamentally, we don't do the little things correctly. We don't make the plays. Every Ravens game I watch, they force at least 1 turnover, bare minimum. I can't watch a Ravens football game without them. They lead the league in turnovers forced. I can't watch a Ravens game without them creating at least a turnover. Usually, it's multiple turnovers. Yet my team hasn't created a turnover in over a month. Ethan Dykes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy E writes, I think Ron has checked out. We broke him, Lou. It doesn't. I mean, every coach experiences that in Washington where their spirit is broken at some point. At some point, your spirit will be broken by Daniel Snyder and this organization. Because it's a lot, man. It's a lot to handle. You come here thinking you're just going to coach football and you're in for a rude awakening when you get here. There's a lot of shit you got to do. Especially when it's coach-centric. Ron had no idea what he was signing up for. Bless his heart. I said it way back when he first took the job. I said, Ron's in over his head. He has no idea what he signed up for. None. And it didn't take long to realize that Ron was realizing, what the hell did I get myself into? I told y'all in his first year, even though we won the division, I said, if you could give him truth serum and ask him, if you knew what you know now, would you have taken the job? I guarantee he was like, hell no. I'd have went and took the job with Dave Gettleman in New York with the Giants. I'd have held out for that opportunity. I would not have come here. But it was too late. He got. 1/6 Devil Doc, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, this whip is beat the F up after 30 years. I'm surprised it's still running. It ain't just beat up. It's in pretty rough shape, man. I'm surprised it's still running. 1/6 Devil Doc, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I guess I love going off the cliff. Clearly, you're an extreme guy. You are an extreme guy. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Hunter, who writes, on a positive note, God bless this run defense. Yeah, I was disappointed in it in the first half. I'm not going to lie. I told the mob that I was really disappointed because we had been so dominant the previous 2 weeks against the run, and I was really expecting it to carry over, and I thought that was going to give us the edge in the game. And to see them play the way that they did in the first half and allow Derrick Henry to really gut us, and I thought it was his ability to run the football. And remember, there were penalties that called back runs that were like 17 and 14, and so we caught some breaks. They had some holding penalties, illegal man downfield when they had some plays when we had, Tannehill and he found a way to get it to the receiver and they had a legal man downfield. We caught some breaks. We really, truly did, because his numbers would have been a lot better if some of those runs had counted in the first half. He'd have been over 100 in the first half, but instead he was hovering around 90. Credit to the rush defense in the second half. They stepped it up, but I'm still disappointed in the defense because when we took that 17-14 lead, you had all the momentum in the world. That we scored that touchdown with like 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And by the 1 minute mark of the third quarter, they had taken the lead back. 21-17. Didn't know at the time, but that was the game-winning score. Didn't even take the defense 3 minutes to get a shit right back. 61-yard pass. Unbelievable. Dynamite Dave, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dynamite Dave writes, you missed my super chats in previous show. Check my email. I saw your email. I mean, I'm assuming it's you. I don't know if it was you or not, but I saw the email. I got to look at the actual screenshots because I read 2 super chats from you, Dynamic Dave. Now, I don't know if those were the ones. Well, where's my phone? I can check right now and tell you if these are the same super chats that I read or not, because I saw your email. Let's see. Show images. So you super chatted twice, and I read 2 super chats. Yep, I read both of your super chats. I don't know if you checked out during your super chats, but I read both of those super chats from you, Dynamic Dave. I didn't miss any of your super chats. I don't know why that happens with some of you, where you super chat. And look, I'm often very behind on super chats because I don't just read your super chat and then move on to the next one. I actually respond to your super chats. So I could be 2 hours behind on super chats. It's nothing to be 2 hours behind, especially on a game like today where it's, highly emotional. Everyone's got something to say. And so I read your super chats. I read both of them. But if you ever feel like I didn't, I appreciate you sending me that email, because I want you to get your money's worth. Absolutely. you know, and if I hadn't read them and you sent me, you know, the email, then I would have just gone back and read it on another show, you know. But I definitely read your super chats. I read both of them. If you need me to, I can go back and I can timestamp you the times that I read the 2 super chats in the video. If you need me to do that, so you can see that I read them. But they're in there. It's a 4-hour video. I know it's long and you got to kind of, you know, navigate your way through. But I read both of those super chats. Vincent Co. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Vincent Co writes, smoke some one time for my Seahawks, Leaky D. We talked about this last week, man. When you scored 48 but gave up 45 to the Lions, you was like, man, this offense is better than I thought. But boy, is our defense cheeks. And yeah, I said, man, that's the thing about your football team is your defense. Their offense, Geno Smith is playing out of his mind. Excuse me. And he did it again today. But your defense is ass-tastic. My goodness. It seemed like every time you score, you gave it right back. And there was some big-ass plays. You know, Taysom Hill, 60-yard run. You know, that kind of shit. Like, come on, bro. You know Taysom getting a rock. What are we doing here? So, yeah, your defense is definitely leaky, bro. Definitely. Dynamic Dave, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Dynamic Dave writes, I said Norwell loses the game and the team lacks urgency. Yeah, I remember reading your super chat, and you said that, you know, we were 1-4 and other teams had new coaches like Minnesota or somebody, or the Giants, you know, were 4-1 and they got new coaches. And, you know, I responded to it, and which we talked about. You know, it's frustrating when you look around the league and you see these young, you know, energetic, innovative coaches coming along and taking teams that aren't as talented. Now, I think Minnesota is probably more talented than we are when it's all said and done. I don't love all of their stuff, especially on defense, but I don't love all the stuff we have on defense either. So I think the Vikings are probably a more talented football team, more complete team than we are. But the Giants are not, and they're 4-1. I just think it comes down to coaching. The Bears are a terrible roster, and their roster is hideous, especially on offense. I think defensively, their roster is solid. But we're going to find that out firsthand on Thursday. I think they're going to get after Wentz. They're going to force him into some mistakes. And so, yeah, you just look at some of these teams. I mean, the Dolphins, I know they've lost 2 straight, and they're 3-2 now after starting 3-0. But even McDaniel came in and turned that program around and had them thinking, hey, we can challenge Buffalo, and they beat the Bills. We can challenge them for the division. They've had some injuries, obviously, Tua now, you know, having Teddy Bridgewater go down to a concussion. It hasn't been ideal for them. But, I mean, you look at all these coaches that have come in their first year, and they're giving their fan bases hope. Meanwhile, we're still stuck in 2020 with Ron Rivera. Pissed as F. I love the thumbnail. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, Lou, it's big money. YouTube won't let me super chat my normal account. I'm still pissed, and yeah, luck ain't got no limits. Oh, okay. So it's my guy, Big Money Sonny. That's crazy. I love the thumbnail, Big Money Sonny. I love the thumbnail. Luck, I saw the real Luck tonight. There's no limits he won't go to try to get a dub. And so, while on one hand I can respect it, on the other hand, I'm like, wow, really, dude? On a day like today, At a time like now, you gonna really try to get the kid? I thought we was cool, man. I thought we was family. But he ain't got no chill, man. He ain't got no filter. So Luck's like, oh, so all caps, huh? Okay, I got you, all caps. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Vincent Coe, double up, thank you for doubling up, writes, sad injury for Penny, shaking my head. Ken Walker, legit? I think he will be. But what did I say about Rashad Penny? What did I say? Just when I was, and I'm glad I didn't offer up a double O. Just when I was about to give him a double O, I said the one thing about Rashad Penny you can always count on is he gonna get hurt. And look what happened. And the man was running his ass off too. I feel bad for him. I do. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be legit, but got to see, right? Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Woolen and Bryant are going to be sweet for us. I think so. Especially Woolen. I can't vouch for Bryant quite yet. But Bryant made a play last week when he picked off Jared Goff, I think. I think I do like that kid, Bryant, Kobe Bryant. I know Tariq Woolen looks like he's going to be legit. He sure does. Pistis F, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Right, I'm pissed, Lou. Me too. Me too. That makes two of us. That's such a big missed opportunity. Such a big missed opportunity. Miss Perry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I sent you the link to Luck Getting Law. Okay, I'm going to check it out. Luck. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Luck writes, I had to make my favorite streamers laugh. I'm sorry. I can't forgive you. I don't accept your apology, Luck. It's okay to get me or attempt to get me in settings that are neutralized, where everybody's in their right frame of mind. You came at me at a low point when the morale was down, my guards were down, and there was no way I was going to be in a position to fight. All I wanted is a chance. That's it. That's all I ever asked for was a chance. I didn't stand a chance, man. You blindsided me. I didn't stand a chance. In that particular moment, I wasn't in my right mind. It's almost like trying to take advantage of somebody that suffered loss. When people suffer a major loss in their life, they're not in their right mind. That's why rich people like to have some type of emotional business in their portfolio, whether it be something pertaining to weddings, more likely than not jewelry, wedding rings, because it's an impulse buy. You're emotional, and you can get somebody to overspend when they're emotional. I remember when I was shopping for my wedding ring, how many of the jewelers in the establishment kept commenting on rings. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Hey, shut up. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this one right here. You stay over there. I know what you're trying to do. I don't need your input. If I need it, I'll ask. Because they're going to game you up. Oh my God, that is such. First of all, you work here. You've seen that ring 10 million times. Who do you think you're talking to? Do I look like I got dummy written on my forehead? Oh my God, that is such a beautiful ring. Yeah, I know. It looks nice in the case. Leave it there. I don't want that one. But when people are emotional, they're likely to overspend. Just like when you lose a loved one, you don't need to have all these fancy caskets. Your loved one isn't alive. What they need all of this fancy shit inside the casket for? To put it in the ground? So they sell you all this shit, and because you're not in the right frame of mind, you just say yes to everything. Oh, don't you want your loved one to be in the best, most comfortable position? Don't you want them to be in a lavish casket? No, I don't. That's how you treated me. That's how I felt like you treated me tonight, Luck. You tried to take advantage of me. You took advantage of me in a vulnerable spot. Shame on you, man. Shame on you, Luck. Pissed as F. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. All right. Still pissed as F, Lou. Too old for this, brother. You and me both, man. I ain't got time for this shit, man. I really don't. This one hurt, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I don't want to go through too many more of those. Not unless it's in the playoffs and it'll sting even worse, but at least you in the playoffs. Again, we talking about a week 5 game to get you to 2-3 in October versus the Tennessee Titans. Let that sink in. We weren't talking about a week 14 game against the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles or the New York Giants. We're talking about a week 5 matchup in which you came into the game at 1-3 against the Tennessee Titans. You would have thought we just lost the NFC Championship game. I think that's a sign that we care too much. I think that's what that is. We care a little bit too much. That's what I think that is. I could be wrong. Just my opinion. I can't help it, though. Pissed as F. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Pissed as F writes, appreciate you holding us down, my good brother, but man, this one really hurts. Such a quick turnaround, too. Thursday night. I think it actually benefits us that we play on Thursday, because we would have just been lamenting over this all week if we played on Sunday. I think the quick turnaround doesn't allow them to process the opportunity that they really let slip through their fingers. They got to turn around tomorrow. They got to come in and get the treatment. They got to start watching film on Chicago, and they got to start implementing a game plan, and they got to get ready for the Bears. They don't have time to sit and sulk. I think this is the best thing that could have happened for them in terms of the timing of this week 6 matchup. Because had we lost this and we played Chicago on Sunday, this would have been a long week. This would have been a long week. And trust me, it can get longer, because if you lose to the Bears, then you got more questions, and that shit just lingers. The good thing is, no matter what, win or lose, we're not playing on Sunday. So I just get to watch all the other games free of any responsibility. And I don't have to feel bad. If I feel bad about a loss, it'll be on Thursday night. And then I can go to sleep, wake up Friday refreshed, hit the reset button, and go into the weekend clear head and not have to worry about the anxiousness and the anxiety that comes with Washington football. It's still fun for me, but if this thing continues spiraling out of control, it'll become a chore instead of something fun that I want to do. It'll become a chore. So, yeah, it hurt, man. Abel Ambrosio, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Mets eliminated Braves versus Phillies. Yep. Mets got eliminated by the Pods tonight. They'll be moving on, and the Fathers will be taking on the Dodgers. Meanwhile, the Phillies and the Braves series will start on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to having an opportunity. Nothing like a little bit of family business. We know the Phillies very well. They know us. We're the better team, but the better team doesn't always win. So we got to take care of business. I actually was more afraid of the Cardinals than I was the Phillies, but hey, Nobody knows you better than a family member. So these boys are fully capable of taking us out. We don't come with our A game. Pistis F, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, like Richard Sherman Helmsley said, run the damn ball. Sorry, Lou, I'm heated. I had this discussion numerous times because a lot of people felt like we should have run the football. And I just don't agree with that take because of what running the football would have meant had you not scored. I don't think running the football really comes into play until fourth down. Now, again, if you wanted to run it on third down and you were conceding that if we don't score here, the game's over, fine. I personally want to give myself more opportunities, not less. So I don't think running a football on any other down other than fourth made a ton of sense for me personally, because at the end of the day, I want to give myself more chances, not less. So if running it on first down ensures that you only get one more opportunity, so you're telling me you got to the 2-yard line and you only got 2 snaps off. 3 if you want to count the spike that let you get your third down play off, but that wasn't an attempt to get in the end zone. That was an attempt to stop the clock so you could have another attempt to get in the end zone. That just doesn't make sense to me. And it's not like we were running the football effectively. The Titans were stonewalling us in the run game. So there's no guarantee that would have worked. I would have taken my chances running it on fourth down, but again, Carson Wentz didn't allow us the opportunity to have a fourth down play. So we would never know what would have been called. I don't trust Scott Turner to call a good run or even a run for that matter, but I would have loved to have seen the opportunity be presented to the offense, but we never got that chance. Abel Ambrosio, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Abel Ambrosio writes, Carson interception reminds me of Russell Wilson interception versus Pats. Somebody brought that up to me earlier in the post-game stream when they said that it was the same route combination from the Super Bowl, and obviously similar result. It wasn't exactly the same as a corner just coming up and winning and beating the receiver to the spot, but the linebacker jumped in front of J.D. McKissick, and so it was the same result. It doesn't matter to me. I didn't like the decision from Carson Wentz, but all I've heard from people is he could have run it. Well, that wasn't what was drawn up on the play. I really don't want to put Wentz in that position. Again, if you're a baller, you're going to find a way to get in, because at the end of the day, nobody cares how you get in, just get in. But I just want my coordinator to draw up a play that allows my quarterback to know where he's going with the football and get it there and get us a win. That's what I want. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, I know I'm going to get got, but I got to get mines before I get got, though. It's all love, Lou. Law tried to reverse the role on me. He was easier than you. Oh, don't worry. You definitely going to get got. I'm not going to try to get you. I'm not going to try to get you. But I'm pretty sure other people will try to get you. And will get you. You started something. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Hunter Hodovic writes, just watched a John Allen interview and was asked about our potential. That's the worst thing you can ask John Allen, because he'll snap when you ask him about potential. He said, potential is a word used for those who haven't accomplished anything. Damn, man. I think I've heard him say that before. But yeah, we've heard the old saying, son, your potential is going to get me fired. That means you're capable, but you haven't done shit. That means you have the ability to do it. We haven't done it yet. So, yeah, that sounds about right. Joe Rockhead J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joe Rockhead J writes, this hurts because it means, oh no, we suck again. Yeah, facts, big facts. I told you the reason that this one hurt on the postgame show, the reason it hurt so much for me is because it's every year, it never changes, especially when it's a game this close. But every year when you get to that point of the season where you realize when it really truly hits you, this shit is over. Last year, it didn't come till much later in the season. I think it was week 8 because I still had hope, even after the Green Bay loss, which I thought was one of our better performances at that time. And we were 2-5. I was like, we still got Denver next week. We can beat the Broncos. Going to the bye week at 3-5, I don't like our chances coming out of the bye because you got Tampa and you got Seattle and you got the Vegas Raiders and Carolina. And I'm like, Carolina, that's a winnable game. But then they got hot with Cam, and went to Arizona and blew them out. And Cam was going to start the next game. And so I was like, shit, we walking into a buzzsaw. Who thought we were going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Then go into Carolina and beat Cam Newton-led, Carolina Panthers with all the momentum that they had. Then come back and beat the Seattle Seahawks on a Monday night. Then go to Vegas and beat the Raiders. Didn't see it coming. I had pronounced the season dead at 2-6 heading into the bye week. Then you run off for a straight. You get hyped. They suck you back in. You show up against Dallas. I talked all that shit. And then you get run out of the building. Yeah, the final score might have been 20. What was that game? 20 to 14, right? I think that was the final score of that game. That doesn't do it any justice. We were down 20-0 in that game. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is, I think this loss hurt because not only was it close, not only was it heartbreaking, not only were we so close to winning this game, but it also signified that this season, more likely than not, isn't going to be anything remotely close to what we thought or hoped it could be. And that's the resignation of, oh, yeah, we suck. Somebody told me today, hey, if the draft started tomorrow, we'd have the number 1 overall pick. Now, that might have been before a Carolina loss. I don't know what their situation is, but the Panthers are pretty damn bad too. They stink, just like we do. So, there's that. But I think today's loss kind of put a lot of people in that frame of mind that the season's over. Me being included in that group. You needed to win. Pissed as F. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, expensive L, but I'm glad you are the recipient of my frustration. Tell the wifey thank you for letting me vent. Peace, brother, and let's get it next Thursday. Oh, she says thank you. All right. She says thank you. Trust me. Yeah, I'll be there on Thursday. You know I will. Dynamic Dave, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Dynamic Dave writes, how is Vegas making us 1-point favorites against the Bears? If we lose, it's for sure our funeral. He says, also, Washington media is so depressing. Fred Smoot is losing it. All are sad. I mean, what do you expect from them, though, Dave? What do you expect them to be? Jubilant because we lost? Like, a lot of people got sucked into this offseason, the hype of Wentz. And I think also what we got sucked into was, the offensive explosiveness and the potential of it. And then all of the shit that people were talking about Carson Wentz. I mean, they were shitting all over Wentz all offseason to the point where it got so bad that we felt the need to have to protect him. Like, he's not even one of our guys. We just got our hands on him this offseason, and we felt the need to shelter this dude. Like, hey, y'all ain't gonna be talking about Carson Wentz like this. This is borderline disrespectful now. Y'all getting out of pocket with the Carson Wentz hate. Y'all taking it too far now. Some of these quarterbacks y'all putting ahead of him on these lists and shit, y'all getting way out of line. And so that made it even more imperative that we win, because now we got to show y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about with this Carson Wentz hate. So yeah, you couple all of the shit that was on the table, all the things we thought we could do, and then you get that Jacksonville game in week 1, and you see the explosiveness of this offense, how you down by 8, and then you snap your fingers twice and you up by 6. Yeah, that shit changes things. Down 22-14, up 28-22. You go, okay, this team's different. And they're explosive on offense. And they only played 2 quarters in this game. What happens when they put it together for 4? We ain't put together a 4-quarter performance on offense yet. Hell, we ain't put together a 4-quarter performance on defense yet either. For that matter. We ain't played a full game all season long. 4 quarters. In any capacity. Defense, offense, special teams. They got us as a 1-point favorite because the Bears suck. But we suck too. That essentially what Vegas is telling you is that's a pick'em game. Anybody can win. Pissed as F. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, top 5 in turnovers now, huh? This is how we turn players into shit. Sad, Lou. Sad. Still going to rock with top 5. You know the rest. I think he's tied for the lead in interceptions. I don't know what Matthew Stafford did today. He was up there. I think somebody else was up there with him too. Matt Ryan. Yeah, Matt Ryan was up there. So I think Wentz was behind Matt Ryan by 1. Yeah, Matt Ryan has 7 interceptions. I think Carson had 6. Maybe 5. Trying to think. Week 1, he had 2. Week 2, he had 1. That's 3. Week 4, he didn't throw any, but he did fumble. And then week 5, against Dallas, he threw 2 more. So he had 6. That's that right? Oh, he had 5. 2 in week 1, 1 in week 2, none in week 3, 2 more in week 4. So that's 5. And then he had his 6th one today. And Matt Ryan was already at 7. Yeah. Man, what could have been? Could have been. Pissed as F. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Pissed as F, writes, I feel like we've been cheated on, Lou. This is what the Discord is for, but I have way too much venom and I don't want the community to feel this any longer. They never lied to us. Ron and company, they never lied to us. They never sold us a bill of goods. We sold ourselves the bill of goods. But it feels like we've been lied to. Here's where it feels like you've been lied to. When Ron first got here, he told you, give me 3 years. We'll be competitive in 3 years. Give me 3 years. In the military, it takes 3 to 4 years to change a culture. Give me 3 years. I have us playing competent football. Give me 3 years. He went all in this offseason when he got a quarterback, upgraded the offense, didn't do a thing to the defense, but went all in on the offense. Moved some pieces around on the offensive line that didn't need to be shuffled. Only one that should have been departing was Brandon Sheriff. And now we're 1-4. So it feels like we were somewhat lied to. You know, Ron tried to weasel his way out of it when we tried to put some expectations on the season, because he said it was an important season. And then he tried to, you know, back his way out and say, nah, it ain't as important as y'all trying to make it out to be. It's a big season, but it ain't that big. Sure. All right. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I appreciate y'all joining the kid tonight. Ravens get the win 19-17 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are now 2-3 after starting 0-2, running off 2 straight. They have their 2-game win streak snapped. They're now under 500 at 2-3. Meanwhile, the Ravens are 3-2, and you could argue the Ravens could be 5-0 right now. Should have beat the Dolphins. Had the Bills on the ropes, were up big in that ball game, blew that lead, made a poor decision, I thought, at the end of that game that ultimately cost them. But here they are, 3-2, top of the division. This is a team that they're going to see week 18, and that could mean something. That game could mean something. Week 18 between these two teams, it'll be in Cincinnati. Ravens get the win, but I thought Cincinnati had opportunities in this game. Thought they had opportunities, but Ravens find a way to get it done. That's all that matters. And there were opportunities for the Ravens early in this game. Lamar missed a couple of deep balls on the same possession that would have been touchdowns, especially the last one to Tylan Wallace on that 4th down. It's a cute play. That's the shit I'm talking about. What an awesome play design that was. Everybody's doing a little tight end under center shit. So they fake that, have Mark Andrews run out in motion. You think he's going to get the ball. So all the attention goes to 89 because that's Lamar's favorite target. They kind of fake that. Defense falls asleep behind the wheel, and you get Tylan Wallace slipping behind the defense, wide ass open, and Lamar just overshoots him. What a great design. Gotta execute. All right. Pissed as F. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Pissed as F writes, my profile pic says it all, Lou. Again, appreciate you, homie. Really do, brother. I told you I love your thumbnail. I love the thumbnail, man. I really do appreciate you guys. All right. With that said, you guys, get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll reconvene tomorrow for CNN. I'd love to do my podcast tomorrow. Highly unlikely. But you guys take care. I'm going to go now subject myself to all of the post-game interviews, listen to what everybody had to say, even though I already kind of know what's going to be said. I'm going to go ahead and watch it anyway. You guys have a great night. As always, God bless and good night.